I am not teaching, I am publicly learning. But hi and welcome to Learning for the Life in the UK test part 594 by doing leg stretching. And if you participate in the leg stretching, that is at your own risk. We are beginning. We're bringing both legs in front and the toes are together. And we're putting the toes a bit in. You can use pants. Now, here in the book it is about UK and there's something about the civil service, and we try to find out more about the civil service. Yeah, so far we have 500,000 people working in the civil service in the United Kingdom, and we're doing the bureaucracy necessary to make the country run. We're working in the job centers, in the driver's license offices, we're doing food control, we're working in the courts, all the bureaucracy of the whole apparatus of the United Kingdom, 500,000 people. We know there is the public sector, the private sector, and the third sector, or voluntary sector. In the private or in the public sector, we don't really understand it now. And the private sector, these are the companies working for themselves. So a company makes a company open and they're having now a little company running and making money. And the third sector, these are volunteer people. And now we're trying to go through it and try to understand it. We are right now here at public service. Okay, the implications of public services. Public services can be constructed, coordinated and operated in many ways or forms. They include government agencies, independent state-funded institutions, government-coordinated organizations, civil society, military agencies, and volunteers. Government employees. We're going to the next exercise. Government agencies are not profit-orientated, and their employees are often motivated differently. Studies of their work have found contrasting results, including both higher levels of effort and fewer hours of work. Okay, what was it here? Studies of their work have found contrasting results, including both higher levels of effort and fewer hours of work. A survey in the UK found that private sector hiring managers do not credit government expertise as much as private sector experience. I didn't say that when we read about the official pages, but it's just a survey, who knows if it's true, but they didn't say that the private sector says experience and the private sector is more worth than in the public sector. Public workers tend to have lower wages when adjusting for education, although the difference is reduced when benefits and hours are included. Public servants have other intangible benefits such as increased job security and high wages. It doesn't have to be specifically for the United Kingdom. This is Wikipedia, but it's not so official. Needs satisfaction and sustainability. Choice. Open Public Services, a white paper published by the Cameron-Clegg Coalition in the United Kingdom. We're changing the leg. In 2011 aimed, so it was for Cameron, when David Cameron won in 2010, he had together with someone called Clegg, the coalition. We have it in the book. And they aimed to create a comprehensive policy. It set out the coalition's program for reform of public services, described as one of wide ambitions expected to be implemented over a period of time, not all at once. 5 principles were to underlie open public services: choice wherever possible, decentralization to the lowest appropriate level, diversity, fairness, accountability. 2013, there were 4 other choice principles outlined: allowing people a say in how public services are provided for them, allowing people the opportunity to exercise choice where it is available, making clear, accessible and high-quality information available to support choice, facilitating complaints over the degree of choice offered as well as over the quality of services, nationalization, privatization. It is not all for the United Kingdom specifically. Okay, public service. What do we want to find out? Civil service and public service. Government procurement. Government procurement is the purchase of goods, works, or services by the state, such as by a government agency or state-owned enterprise. We're going to the next exercise. It is the cart race. So we have 90-90 with the legs. We have our hands at the knee behind of us. We're leaning with the shoulder in front to the knee in front of us. And government procurement is the purchase of goods, works, or services by the state, such as by a government agency or a state-owned enterprise. In 2019, public procurement occurred for approximately 12% of GDP in OECD countries. So it's not specifically for the United Kingdom. Public procurement is based on the idea that governments should direct their society while giving the private sector the freedom to decide the best practices to produce the desired goods and services. One benefit of public procurement is its ability to cultivate innovation and economic growth. The public sector picks the most capable non-profit or for-profit organizations available to issue the desired good or service to the taxpayers. This produces competition within the private sector to gain these contracts, but then reward the organizations that can supply more cost-effective and quality goods and services. Some contracts also have specific clauses to promote working with minority-led, women-owned businesses and/or state-owned enterprises. Competition is a key component of public procurement which affects the outcomes of a whole process. To prevent fraud and waste and corruption on local projects. Okay, overview strategic purchasing. I think that has nothing to do with what we are doing or want to find out. Government agency. A government agency, sometimes an appointed commission called, is a permanent or semi-permanent organization in the machinery of government that is responsible for the oversight and administration of a specific function, such as an administration. We're going to the other side. Hands to the knee behind of us and we're going to. The functions of an agency are normally executive in character, since different types of organizations are most often constituted in an advisory role. This distinction is often blurred in practice, however, it is not allowed. A government agency may be established by either a national government or a state government within a federal system. Agencies can be established by legislation over executive powers. The autonomy, independence, and accountability of government agencies also vary widely by country. United Kingdom. Agencies in the United Kingdom are either executive agencies answerable to government ministers or non-department public bodies answerable directly to Parliament or the devolved assemblies of the United Kingdom. They are also commonly known as quangos. Okay. British government departments. The government of the United Kingdom is divided. For the Life in UK test, you have to do what is written in the book, not what is here. The government of the United Kingdom is divided into departments that each have responsibility, according to the government, for putting government policy into practice. There are currently 24 ministerial departments, 20 non-ministerial departments, and 422 agencies and other public bodies, for a total of 465 departments. We're going to the next exercise. Just 1990, and we're going just in front. Ministerial departments. Attorney of General Office. Cabinet Office, Department for Business and Trade, Department for Culture, Media and Sport, Department for Education, Department for Energy Security and Net Zero, for Food and Rural Affairs, for Innovation and Technology, for Transport, for Work and Pensions, for Health and Social Care, Export Credits Guarantee Department, Foreign Commonwealth and Development Office, HM Treasury, Home Office, Ministry of Defense, Ministry of Housing, Communities and Local Government, of Just... What page skip? All the pictures are gone. I wanted to show the pictures. Okay. And they're gone again. Okay. Now, these are basically the ministers of the United Kingdom. I don't know, I can't really see what is seen. No, pretty much. They have a bunch of pictures. Non-ministerial departments. Charity Commission for England and Wales, Competition and Market Authority, Crown Prosecution Service, Food Standard Agency, Forestry Commission, Legal Department, Actuary Department, Land Registry, Revenue and Customs. And we're going to the pitch and pause. Do it only if you already know how to do it. National Crime Agency, National Archives, Office of Rail and Road, Gas and Electricity Qualification Examination, Office for Standards in Education, Children's Services and Skills, Serious Fraud Office. Where's the Serious Fraud Office? Supreme Court of the United Kingdom, UK Statistics Authority, Water Services. Okay. Now, what is now our question? We basically have answered it. What is civil service and public service? Public service is any service intended to address the needs of aggregate members of a community, whether provided directly by a public sector or by private businesses. So public service is everything for all people. But why are then here listed? Okay, this is modern. Everything where everyone can take part in it? Is it that? Okay, nationalization. Nationalization took off following the world wars of the first half of the 20th century. In parts of Europe, central planning was implemented in the belief that it would make production more efficient. Many public services, especially electricity, fossil fuels, and public transport, are products of this era. After World War II, many countries also began to implement universal healthcare and expand education under the funding and guidance of the state. Privatization. There are several ways to privatize public services. A free market corporation may be established and sold to private investors, relinquish government control altogether. Thus, it become a private, not public service. Another option used in the Nordic countries is to establish a corporation but keep ownership or voting power essentially in the hands of the government. For example, the Finnish state owned 49% of Kermia, with the rest owned by private sectors. A 49% share did not make it a government enterprise, but it meant that all other investors together would have to oppose the state's opinion to overturn the state's decision. Okay. One recent innovation used in the UK, increasingly as well as in Australia and Canada, is public-private partnerships, which involve giving a long lease to private consortia in return for partly or fully funding infrastructure costs. Okay. A public-private partnership is a long-term arrangement between a government and private sector institutions. Typically, it involves private capital financing government projects and services upfront, and then drawing revenues from taxpayers and/or users for profit over the course of the public-private partnership. Public-private partnerships have been implemented in multiple countries and are primarily used for infrastructure projects. We're going to the next exercise. Just 1990, and we're going just in front. Cooperations between private actors, corporations, and governments have existed since the inception of sovereign states, notable for the purpose of tax collection and colonization. Okay. PPPs are controversially a funding tool, largely over concerns that public return on investment is lower than returns for the private funder. Okay, so it means that two people come together, the private and the things and the public. Definitions, origins, funding. Definitions. Origins. Okay, origins, not funding. Typically, a private sector consortium forms a special company called a special purpose vehicle. We're going to the pigeon post. To develop, build, maintain, and operate the asset for the contract building. 1 year after the completion of the Mario Cuomo Bridge, PPP, dozens of boats holding its steel girders together had already failed. A whistleblower claims that the SPV responsible for its construction had knowingly delivered many defect high-strength boats and taken measures to hide evidence of the defects. But that's just for that one bridge, not about the whole thing. Government sometimes make in kind contributions to a PPP, notable with the transfer of existing assets. In projects that are aimed at creating public goods, like in the infrastructure sector, the government may provide a capital subsidy in the form of a one-time grant so as to make the project economically viable. In other cases, the government may support a project by providing revenue subsidies, including tax breaks. Risks. Within public-private partnerships, there are various risks associated. One risk common with PPPs is the lack of proper or accurate cost evaluation. Oftentimes, the estimate costs of a project will not properly account for delays or unexpected events, leading to the cost to be larger than what was planned. Another risk within this area is with change of governance from differing political representatives could lead to a project being diminished or reduced profits. Private monopolies created by PPCs can generate a rent-seeking behavior, which leads to spiral costs for users. Some public-private partnerships, when the development of new technologies is involved, include profit-sharing agreements. This generally involves splitting revenues between the inventor and the public once the technology is commercialized. Okay, I think we did enough research in that area. We couldn't really completely understand what the public sector is and the civil service, but I think they're very close. Civil service seemed to be these 500,000 people doing the bureaucracy. 50,000 people in the... Now, what is the police? That was a good question. What is the police? They are working certainly in the public sector. Maybe we're going to go to that one question, basically just, what is the police in the United Kingdom? when we ended with that, and when we're going on with the book. So we're going to the ending, just into the pigeon pose. No, pigeon pose, butterfly stretch. Sort of feet together, we're sitting tall up and flicking on the front. This is the end. Thank you very much, and until next time.